Man, you brought up an interesting name a while ago, out of the blue, and man, this our conversation is you and me shooting the shit, and I'm not following hardly nothing here, just going on memory in our conversation. But you brought up Bruiser Brody, and he's one of my favorites of all time. And we were talking the other day about him dying in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
You were in Puerto Rico when that happened, were you?
86, yes, sir.
So give me the 411. What
Okay,
happened down there, man?
here's the exact story, and people need to hear this because a lot of people don't know it. Jose Gonzalez, the guy that stabbed him. Okay, his wrestling name was the Invader, right?
Right.
So they had built this program, and over in Puerto Rico, back in the old days, they thought everything was real. So they had put Vader, Jose Gonzalez, in the hospital. He went and stayed for a month. Okay, he comes back, and Brody's supposed to do the favor. Well, Brody wouldn't do it. Well, what nobody understands is that Jose had just built a new home, and this was 3 days before the match, right? And he was out in front with his wife decorating the garden and all that, and the 2-year-old baby crawled out and fell in the pool and drowned. So he was crazy anyway, as anybody would be, right? So when they sent word that Brody wasn't going to do it, I mean, I didn't see it happen, but I was Tony Addison was there with me,
Right.
and we never went back again.
So what happened? I mean, allegedly, Invader called him into the shower, did the deal, gutted him, and Brody died on the shower floor. I talked to Tony Atlas. He used to be one of my former travel partners. He said basically he died in Tony's arms.
He did. Yeah.
What didn't call an ambulance? Everybody kayfabe.
Well,
there
wasn't kayfabe. It was you couldn't get into the arena. We're at Bayamon, 30,000 people. I remember the stadium. We were at Bayamon, and down there they're crazy. A 13-year-old kid will look at you. You walk out of the dugout, right, and a 13-year-old kid will go, cut your guts out. Puerto Rico in the old days.
Right.
It was a rough place to work, man.
Thank
God for the Gadado and the Holiday Inn.
But say the deed goes down. Brody's laying in the shower, bleeding to death. Is there panic, pandemonium in the dressing room? What's going on?
Everybody's
What are you
crazy.
thinking?
I'm thinking that I got to wrestle Cologne for an hour that night. I went right back to focusing on what I had to do. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Just because.
No, you know what happened? Another funny story about me and Brody. When we were in Puerto Rico together all the time, I'm the champion, right?
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to go on last, right? And me and Brody would argue every time because you didn't want to be the last one out there, right?
Right.
I'll tell you the greatest story of all time. This is historical. So they talk Ox Baker into going on last. I guess I can't remember who Ox was wrestling, right? So we're running across the parking lot to beat the crowd because they'll kill you, right?
Yeah. They really will kill you.
Okay. Yeah. They covered Ox Baker in chairs, metal, dirt. We all left Ox. I'm going, what the hell? I'm not even getting paid big for this. They might kill Ox Baker. Man, I'm running across the parking lot. Me and Brody argue all the time. I said, I'm not going on last year tonight. I know the gig.
Was he a pretty good guy?
Brody?
Yeah.
A great guy.
Yeah.
I love Brody. I mean,
I know he was a tough
businessman,
him,
but he didn't like doing business,
right?
Because at that time, the magazines were so popular, right? And he was making his jack in Japan,
right?
And he didn't want to get beat and have it show up on Wrestling Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and because the magazines were huge in Japan then too. He and Hanson, are you kidding me?
See, that's what I was going to ask you, because I would watch on YouTube when Brody and Hanson walked to the ring back in the day with those bull ropes and those cowbells.
In
Japan, they'd be smacking the hell out of those Japanese fans. I mean, wailing them.
But the Japanese people loved it.
I know. They wanted to be hit with the cowbell.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you the greatest match I ever saw in Japan.
Yeah.
And I've been in a lot of them myself, some good ones, right? Was the night that they booked Tenryu and Dick Slater against Brody and Hanson. Right. Let me tell you something. Dick Slater, brother, he didn't budge for anybody. Dick Slater was tougher than hell, man.
I always heard that he was tough as nails. You're saying yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Wow.
Brother, he had thunder in his right hand, man. I ain't kidding you. Dick Slater could punch. Ask Harley Race.
No, I believe it. Everybody told it. I just never would have known.
Are you kidding? Dick Slater was poor guy now is in a wheelchair.
I didn't know that.
Terrible health in Tampa, and just a bunch of stuff. But Dick Slater and his day, man. And I'll tell you something else. The best tag team I ever saw in my life outside of Tully and Arn was Slater and Orton Jr. when they were in Georgia.
I love Bob Orton
Oh
Jr.
my God, yeah.
I loved
They
his
were a
work.
phenomenal tag team. Good Lord. And they both could work their ass off, Bob, I tell Bob to this day, he's the greatest offensive worker in the world, but he don't like to bump around a lot. I see Bob all the time, when Randy's around.
Yeah.
I'd say, you had the most offensive tools anybody ever saw, but you couldn't fall down.
He was good at making people look good. He was economical. I just liked what he did.
Ace.
Yeah.
Piper's bodyguard.
Put a cast on his arm, let him whack people with it.
Yeah, no, but Bob is great, man. I mean, he and I have remained close friends over all these years, and but when we were working with Bob, he liked to be on the offense,
Right?
And he was a bad guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's hard to
I
shine
was
somebody
a
when you're a
good
bad guy.
guy,
You want to be on offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said to somebody, people say, what do you want the most out of this business? I said, I want someone to work with me now that I'm a good guy, like I worked with them when I was a bad guy. Yeah, there's nobody like that. People don't get it. All I did was sell all night long, but the people loved it.
Oh, it was great.
I just bumped around, yeah.
Yeah, and then you would have a comeuppance of offense, and you put the guy back on top, and then you got yours when it was time to get the heat.
Yeah, I got mine to get the heat.
What I liked about you is it was for a brief time in WCW. All of a sudden, I was stunning Steve, and it was like a couple of people thought I was going to be the next Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And of course, that never happened.
Well, of course
there's
it
never
did.
going to be another Ric Flair. But I mean, no. My point is this: we were at a TV taping. I don't know if it was Anderson, South Carolina, or some of the little towns in Georgia. We used to always do those TV tapings at. It wasn't center stage.
Not the moment Kazmaier had the 100-pound dumbbells.
No, not that one. But it was a 6-man match, and I remember because I was.
You and I were partners.
Yes.
Yeah, and Steve, I'll tell you what you said to me. You said, "What are you out there taking all those bones for? Tag me in."
Well, it was just.
Do you remember saying that to me?
Yeah, because I remember saying something because I was like, "Man, this guy, I'll be as good as this guy one of these days." And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there on the apron watching you work, and I'm thinking, "Man, I'll never be as good as this guy. This guy's crazy good." Because you were like Stevie Ray Vaughan on a guitar, just flowless and endless, and never lost, and always had just a great ring general and command of the situation.
He said to me, "Tag me in. I'll take some of his bumps." I said, "You got plenty of time for that.
Yeah,
I'll take them tonight."
But it was watching a master at work was what impressed me. But we brought up tag teams. I enjoyed tagging when I was with Brian Pillman. God rest his soul. Was a super cat that we both know and love.
Of course.
But so what were some of your favorite tag teams? You said Arn and Tully was your favorite. Just saying.
Arn and Tully. Well, I thought they were in a class of their own.
You were in
Ray and Nick.
Ray and
Nick were phenomenal.
Yes, they were. But you and
but Ray and Nick also had Bobby Heenan.
Right.
And Bobby, of course, is.
Are you talking about Ray Stevens and Nick Bockwinkel?
Yes.
Yes.
They had Bobby Heenan as a manager, and brother, Bobby Heenan could work.
Yeah.
Man, there's two things that had to happen in a match, in that tag match. Ray had to do the flip, right? That made me happy. But when Heenan got in there, and that upside down backward bump, but nobody got it. Bobby Heenan was a great worker.
Oh, tremendous.
Phenomenal worker.
Anyway, not only was he a great worker, but he was a great talker, and he's one of the funniest guys I've ever listened to in my life.
He and Arn Anderson, the two wittiest guys I ever met in my life. When they inducted Bobby Heenan in the Hall of Fame, right? He told the story. I was sitting in the audience. He was killing me. He said, Vince called me one day and said, "You're going to manage Ric Flair." and he said this at the Hall of Fame in front of my kids. He goes, "I didn't know I was traveling with Larry Flint." We're flying back after a 3-day run, and we're going back to Madison Square Garden. I'm going to wrestle a Hulk or Piper tonight. I can't remember. And he goes, "I hope your hair falls out and grows back red." He was so mad at me because I got him drunk every night. I kept him out all night. He goes, "Vince, I quit." But they inducted him in the Hall of Fame. He said, "Vince told me I was going to manage Ric Flair. After 2 weeks, I didn't realize I was managing Larry Flint." I don't people think that about me. I don't get people drunk, do I?
No. And there's never any women around either.
No.
I'm here talking to Ric Flair. I'm in a hotel room. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to start talking a little bit about tag teams and some other stuff, but it's the greatest of all time here with Steve Austin, Mo Darwich in stealth mode, recording audio whoop ass.